Hey guys, thank you for tuning to Slappy's Garage. My ADHD has absolutely taken control again. I ended up with this free Sportster and it has a title, so that's two things going for it. Other than that, it looks like an absolute boat anchor, and I just want to see if it pops over before I take some parts off it to see some things inside. That's just for a reference because I can't find the right schematic on my 82 I'm building, and that's just a whole other story. If you want to get into that, you can watch those videos. What we're going to do is see if this thing pops over. Let's get started right now.
So here's a quick reference. You can see how crusty this bike is. There's some close-up images of where this bike is really at. It's ready for a scrapyard. If I didn't take it, it probably would have went there. So let's see what I can do with it. If it pops over, we're going to keep it. If not, oh well, get what I can off of it and call it a day.
Could be. There is no key, but there is a title. So we're going to start by taking this off, pulling the plugs.
I do clean off around the spark plugs because I want to remove them and check things out. So checking them out, you're looking at the spark plug, you're going to see if it's very burnt out. These spark plugs are actually replaced fairly recently compared to the rest of the bike. They're actually in very good condition compared to the look of the bike. I would say these were replaced, and somebody tried starting it and they couldn't get it started. So that being said, the plugs look good. I'm going to check it out with the camera. Now, you don't have to do this always. I'm just checking out the camera to see if maybe the piston got hit by a valve or there's any numbers on the piston saying that that motor has been bored out or anything like that. I'm just seeing the walls of the cylinder as well. And then I'm going to add a little oil. I'm using Marvelous Mystery Oil down the cylinder. This will help free up the cylinders if they are seized. Also, it's just a little lubrication if the bike hasn't ran in years. I don't know any information about the bike other than it's been sitting for a long time. So a little oil in there, I'm going to let it sit in while I go through the rest. I'm going to remove the battery. The battery is a big thing, so you're going to need to either see if the battery is still good so you can try charging it. I have an extra battery on hand for my FXR that I can replace the battery with. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, but I'm just going to remove the battery for now and get into the next step. So with all the corrosion from sitting outside, these terminals are very rough. I'm just going to take a wire wheel and clean them up and try to get it back down so it doesn't have a bad contact, because that will give you some spark issues later on, or it won't even turn the lights on because you have such a bad connection. Now, even though I got a title with the bike, it did not come with the keys. So I'm going to remove this key switch, and these are very easy just to wire up and temporarily just to check if it's going to run or not. So once this key switch is off, I'm going to break all the threads. I use a needle nose vice grip to grab onto the screw head and break it loose, and then use a screwdriver to take it out after that's done. Lastly, we're going to replace the battery with my spare battery off my FXR. Just going to add this on, putting the positive on first, and then go into the ground because that's the safest way to add the battery. Now, once the battery is fully secured, we're going to actually put the key switch back together, which would be the 3 wires coming from the key switch, which would be 1 hot wire and 2 wires that go to the lights and the ignition. So you're going to take the small vice grip, clamp them together, and that will be your new key switch for the day. So it seems that everything's working in order. The relay is working, so the starter turns, the motor turns. Now I'm going to just check that I have spark. I'm going to do each plug. It could be the plugs, it could be the wires, but luckily, when I checked the first plug, there was a nice strong spark. Oil? And yes, that oil did blow out the cylinder that I put in there, but it was still a safety I want in there. Now let's get these plugs reinstalled. So I'm not rebuilding the carburetor after this. That is because this carburetor is chewed up, and I also don't have the time or gaskets, and I really need to get this apart once I check it. So that being said, we're going to reinstall the spark plug and spark plug wires. The key is still connected. We're going to get right on the other side and use a little persuasion juice, aka starting fluid. We'll put a little spray in there and pray for the best.
So now the next step would be rebuilding the carb and putting gas in it and see how it runs with gas. But I already know this head gas is blown. But it's a running motor. It starts, so it might be worth my time one day. Instead of just getting rid of the parts, we could do something with it.
So the bike does have those 3 things going for it. It has a title, it's 1200, and it does pop over. So it's not a full boat anchor just yet. Maybe in a few years and nobody touches it, it will seize up and then just cease to exist somewhere in the scrapyard. But until then, I'm going to keep a hold of this bike and just take this primary apart for my perm project, which is my A2 Sportster. I'm converting the outer primary to actually look like these styles because I hate the look of the iron head outer primaries. Everyone has their own opinions. Nobody thinks what I'm doing is worth its time, but not everything I do is smart. That's why I end up with boat anchors like this. So thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe and tell me what you think about this bike and what you think I should build one day, because I have some ideas. If my ADHD takes me there, maybe we'll start something, but I really want to focus on finishing the projects at hand before I get into another piece of garbage like this.